Have you ever stood in a perfectly manicured cul-de-sac, smiling while your ribs screamed? When Eleanor, the HOA vice president and self-appointed neighborhood mom, hissed, "Say congratulations to the new pool committee chair," I stayed silent. For that, the HOA president Karen clamped my arm like a vice and dragged me into her kitchen. They mistook my silence for weakness. It was precision. Her $2 million empire of embezzled dues, shell company condos, and fake welfare claims lay in smoking ruins thanks to one anonymous tip. This is how quiet became my blade. Revenge doesn't need screams. It needs someone who never forgets. My name is Mia, and at 34 I had perfected the art of disappearing in plain sight. As a risk analyst for a national insurance firm, my days were spreadsheets of probabilities and hidden liabilities. I modeled disasters for a living. Maple Grove HOA was supposed to be the safest variable: quiet streets, identical beige houses, rules posted like holy scripture. Instead, it was a pressure cooker of lawn height mandates, flag size limits, and Karen's clipboard dictatorship. The annual summer block party was the crown jewel of her reign. String lights twinkled over the community pavilion. Kids splashed in the new pool Karen had miraculously funded. Neighbors clutched plastic cups of watered-down punch and pretended the fines for excessive bird feeders were normal. I stood near the edge of the crowd, back against the white vinyl fence, watching the performance. Karen, 50-something, helmet hair sprayed into submission, HOA polo tucked into khakis, floated through clusters like a queen inspecting peasants. Her laugh was too loud, her compliments too syrupy. "Oh, Susan, your roses are simply divine. Exactly 2.5 inches tall, just like the covenants require." Eleanor, her right-hand enabler and my unofficial neighborhood mother, spotted me first. She glided over in a pastel cardigan, perfume thick enough to choke. "Mia, darling, you simply must mingle. Try the punch. Congratulate Linda on her pool committee appointment. She worked so hard." Her smile never reached her eyes. It was the same velvet command my own mother used to issue before Roy entered the picture. I held my untouched cup of sparkling water. The condensation felt like the only honest thing in the entire cul-de-sac. I didn't move. Pinged. She excused herself from a gaggle of nodding wives and marched over, heels clicking like countdown ticks. "Mia, honey, Eleanor asked you to do something simple." Her voice stayed honey-sweet for the audience, but her eyes were ice picks. "It's about community spirit. We're all family here. Family. Like rust." I met her gaze and said nothing. The silence stretched, loud enough to draw glances. Karen's cheeks flushed the color of overripe tomatoes. She leaned in, voice dropping to a hiss only I could hear. "You're making a scene." Her manicured fingers locked around my upper arm, nails digging crescents into skin. She yanked me through the laughing crowd. Neighbors looked away, suddenly fascinated by their own shoes. The pavilion kitchen was stainless steel and fluorescent hell. The door hissed shut, sealing off the party noise. Karen shoved me against the industrial fridge. The impact rattled my teeth. "Who do you think you are?" she spat, scotch on her breath from the private flask she kept in her golf cart. "You live in my neighborhood. You pay my dues, and you disrespect me in front of everyone?" I held her stare. My heart was a cold calculator ticking through probabilities. This was the real Karen, the one behind the welcome baskets and the "for the children" speeches. My stillness enraged her more than shouting ever could. Her face twisted. The hand that had gripped my arm released, then swung. Not a slap, too visible. A brutal, calculated punch straight to my solar plexus. Air exploded from my lungs. Chest. My knees buckled. Door, clutching my ribs, gasping like a landed fish. Karen smoothed her polo, adjusted her pearl necklace, and smiled the same pageant smile she used for photo ops. When Eleanor tells you to do something, you do it. End of story. She pushed the door open and stepped back into the fairy lights as if nothing had happened. I stayed on the cold tile until the stars stopped spinning behind my eyelids. The pain anchored me, or crystallized. Not tears. The risk analyst in me flipped online. Karen had just handed me the first variable in her own catastrophic failure model. That night, back in my minimalist gray townhouse, HOA-approved paint color 47, I didn't cry. I opened my laptop, throbbed like a metronome counting down her remaining days of power. I started a new encrypted folder titled simply, Karen. The next morning, the neighborhood looked exactly the same. Perfect lawns, exactly 3 feet tall. But I saw the cracks now. It was a clue. I began with public records, something any resident could access, nothing traceable. Maple Grove HOA filed quarterly financials with the state. I downloaded 3 years of PDFs. On paper, it was pristine. Pool fund, landscaping reserve, emergency repairs. But the numbers whispered. Fees to a shell company called MG Holdings LLC totaled $1.2 million over 36 months. The registered agent, Eleanor's nephew. The same Eleanor who had ordered me to congratulate Linda. I dug deeper. Showed MG Holdings had quietly purchased a luxury condo in Glenwood 2 years ago, right after a massive special assessment for the new pool. The deed listed Eleanor as co-owner alongside the LLC. My quiet neighbor, the one who always claimed she was just scraping by on fixed income, suddenly owned waterfront property bought with everyone else's dues. Black humor bubbled up. Fiscal responsibility, while fining Mrs. Patel $250 for a garden gnome 1 inch too tall. Meanwhile, they laundered HOA money into personal real estate. I cataloged every transfer, every fake invoice. Then came the welfare angle that made my stomach turn. Last year, Eleanor had applied for and received state low-income energy assistance. The same year, she co-owned a $450,000 condo. The application listed her income as under $30,000. The documents I'd pulled showed otherwise. Classic fraud against taxpayers who actually needed help. I didn't confront anyone. The group chat blew up the next week. Eleanor posted, "Some residents are being difficult about community spirit. A little gratitude goes a long way." Subtle shade aimed at me. Neighbors piled on with heart emojis and, "So true. Karen does so much." Karen herself chimed in, "We all need to remember who keeps this neighborhood beautiful. Disrespect will not be tolerated." Translation, obey or pay. I smiled at my screen and kept typing. Every passive-aggressive emoji became another data point. Leo Martinez, former intern, now forensic accountant, answered my anonymous email within an hour. We met at a neutral coffee shop 2 towns over. I slid him a redacted file. The deed, the wire transfers, Eleanor's welfare letter. No names. Leo's eyes lit up like Christmas. Classic wash cycle. About assets parked in shells. This isn't sloppy bookkeeping. He weighed the cash envelope I offered. "Give me 10 days. Way." While he worked, the pressure campaign escalated. Eleanor showed up at my door with a foil-wrapped plate of, "Sorry, we had a misunderstanding cookies." Karen feels terrible about the misunderstanding at the party. She barely touched you, right? Come to the next board meeting. Apologize. Her smile was plastic. And fed them to the birds, HOA-approved species only, of course. Then I blocked her number. Mia is being so dramatic. I added the screenshots to the folder. Leo's report arrived encrypted. Wire transfers of $250,000 from HOA accounts to MG Holdings 3 days before the Glenwood closing. Consulting fees to Karen's husband's firm totaling $1.2 million. Eleanor's welfare fraud confirmed. The line existed. Straight to federal prison. I printed everything. Tabbed and indexed like a prosecutor's dream. One for the safe deposit box, one for me, one destined for the State Attorney General's Fraud Division and a certain investigative journalist at the local paper. The gala was already scheduled, the annual Maple Grove Beacon of Hope fundraiser. Karen and Eleanor would be chairing it, smiling in sequins while accepting checks from the same neighbors they'd bled dry. Perfect timing. I waited, here out of strategy. A siege needs patience. Greatest vulnerability. She couldn't stop. Posted photos from the private donor cabin. The HOA had supposedly been gifted for board retreats. The cabin's address geotagged itself. Public records showed it was another MG Holdings property. Eleanor had posted herself sipping wine on the porch with the caption, "So blessed by generous benefactors." I saved every image as Exhibit G. Vanity is a hell of a forensic gift. The gala arrived in a swirl of fairy lights and forced cheer. I watched from my living room via the neighborhood livestream Karen insisted on. She stood at the podium in a sequined blazer, thanking our generous community, while new pledges poured in, fresh money for her next laundering cycle. I hit send on the physical binder that night. Priority mail, cash, no return address. Digital copy went to the journalist David Ingram with the same embargo terms. Wait for the federal investigation to go public, then you get everything. The waiting game began. Cul-de-sac. Karen kept fining people for unapproved mulch color. Eleanor dropped passive-aggressive baskets on porches. I ran 5 miles every dawn, bruise fading from purple to yellow, each step another tick toward justice. The first tremor came via the local paper. Maple Grove HOA accounts frozen amid state review. David Ingram's byline. Dry, factual, devastating. Bank accounts linked to Karen's shells were locked. Neighbors whispered at mailboxes. Karen's golf cart was suddenly absent from the streets. Then the phone call. I answered and hit record.
This call is being recorded.
Mia, sweetheart, it's Karen. Her voice cracked like cheap foundation. I know things got heated at the party. I was stressed. So much pressure. Eleanor's worried sick about you. It's behind us. I let the silence stretch. She tried again. Been some misunderstanding with the finances. Government overreach, you know how it is. You haven't heard anything weird at your job, have you? Anything about audits? The panic leaked through her syrup. Give her nothing but the cold, flat truth of my voice. Is there a reason for this call, Karen? Her mask slipped. Eleanor's security. Everything's on the line because of some vindictive. I hung up. As Karen Confession, August 29th. The arrest hit on a Saturday afternoon. The Beacon of Hope Gala had just wrapped its final speech. Karen was mid-toast when unmarked SUVs rolled up the driveway. Federal agents in windbreakers entered the pavilion. The live stream caught it all. Karen's face draining of color as cuffs clicked around her wrists. "This is a mistake," she shrieked. "I built this neighbor." Eleanor stood frozen in her sequins, mouth agape, watching the empire she helped steal collapse in real time. Guests filmed on phones. Arrived before the agents even reached the street. The footage went viral before Karen reached the station. HOA president arrested for embezzlement trended locally within hours. Ingram's follow-up story dropped the next morning with redacted documents I had provided. Wires, deeds, the welfare fraud letter. The mountain cabin photos were particularly delicious. Neighbors who had nodded along to every ridiculous find suddenly remembered they'd always suspected something. I watched from my couch, coffee cooling in my hand. No gloating, satisfaction of a risk model proven correct. The machine I built, IRS, state regulators, free press, now operated without me. Loose ends remained. Placed the second binder in the safe deposit box and locked it away forever. Then I opened my banking app and canceled the monthly $150 community support transfer I'd been making to the HOA scholarship fund Eleanor controlled. The leash snapped. I purged my contacts. Husband. Every neighbor who had sided with the clipboard queen. Delete. Felt 10 pounds lighter. The final message I sent was one line, no greeting, no signature. To Eleanor's email. I stayed silent, but I wasn't blind. She would read it in the wreckage of lawyers and seized assets. She would know. 3 months later, I stood on an Oregon cliff, salt wind whipping my hair. The cottage overlooked gray waves that crashed with indifferent power. No HOAs. No clipboards. I had moved to a new city, new job, new number. The old life was archived in a metal box and a deleted email thread. Roy, no Karen, was facing multiple felony counts. Eleanor had quietly resigned from every committee and was selling the Glenwood condo to pay legal fees. The neighborhood pool still sparkled, but the new board had voted to refund every illegal special assessment. Some nights I still felt the phantom bruise. Then I remembered the silence that had felled an empire. I never raised my voice, collected the data, and let the system do what it does best when pointed at the right target. The ocean roared below me, not the tight, polite smile of Maple Grove, but the real one. The one that comes when you finally own your own quiet. Revenge doesn't need applause, just to forget. And I never did.